Today, let's talk about the air rifle, but it was the air gun from 200 years ago in China. When I made the video before, during researching, I came across an interesting Manchu word from the Qing Dynasty's Pentacular Dictionary. The word is Cirgabukū Miyoocan, which translates to air gun in English. Cirgabukū's word root is Cirgabukū, which means holding the breeze, and Miyoocan means gun in English. So if Cirgabukū Miyoocan is translated directly, its meaning is a gun which can hold the breeze when we pump the air into its air tank. And according to the explanation of this word in dictionary, 명창이 아달래 다 그렇겠지 어떤 도심부모 cirgabufi 부츠군부모 시다라닝의 cirgabuku miyoocan, which means it looks like a gun and air is blowing into the gun from the rear position, and meanwhile the gun can hold the air, then we can fire it. So this is Cirgabukū Miyoocan. In addition, the dictionary also gives us the Han Chinese word, which is fengqiang, whose translation directly is wind gun. This is another position to describe the air gun. We can imagine that the air gun indeed blows the bullet out of the barrel, but the modern Chinese fengqiang had become an ancient word. Now, the word qiqiang has instead of the word of fengqiang. From the word, we now move on to the collections of the Forbidden City. There are several ancient air guns in the Forbidden City, like air pistol, air rifle, with a clear view of the sphere air tank. These ancient royal collections are very exquisite, and they have a very obvious European style of gun. Then, when we appreciate the Asian air gun, we can notice a note which used the English language, and from this note, we know that the gun was built in Britain. Plus, we know that indeed there are some communications between the United Kingdom and the Qing Empire in history. So, we may infer that these guns may have come to China at the period. So, to better understand this Asian air gun, we need to turn our attention to Europe. In fact, this is the original family of Asian air guns. Although the Asian air guns in the Forbidden City were made in Britain, the original kind of air gun came from Dan Basil in Austrian Empire in history. However, now the city belonged to Italy. The maker was Bartholomäus Girandoni. Therefore, this type of air gun is also known as the Girardoni air rifle. And this was mentioning that at the ancient time in German, this kind of air gun was called Windbuchse, which means wind gun. So perhaps the Chinese word fengqiang may be from this German word. Then this gun was a kind of repeating air rifle which has a theoretical firing rate faster than contemporary flintlock muskets. Each air tank was supposed 30 shots, but this needs to be manually pumped to fill the reservoir, requiring nearly 1,500 strokes of a hand pump to fill one air tank. Really pretty hard work. From the old guns have been perceived, it can be seen that there were probably two different types of models developed. One was the air gun, was a bow-shaped air tank, like the one in the Forbidden City collections, and the other was an air gun with gun-stock-shaped air tank. The principle of both is the same, also similar to the principle of modern air guns in the 21st century, which can be used as joint rifles and military rifles. However, the historical Girardoni air rifle was not produced in large numbers. This may be because the technology of the 18th and 19th centuries was far weaker than that of the 21st century, especially in the tech of the air tightness. This led to the possibility that this classical air gun was more fragile compared to the flintlock rifle, and if there was a small crack, it would be completely unusable. Moreover, the technical requirements were also very high, including the training of gunners and the manufacturing technology. Therefore, in terms of practicality, the flintlock rifle was more suitable for mass deployment. It is said that this gun fired lead bullets with a caliber of 4.64 inches at a speed of about 500 to 900 fps, which is close to the muzzle velocity of the .55 caliber M1911 pistol. In history, one of the most famous events where this kind of air gun was used with the crossing across the North American continent of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and this gun was once used by them. Finally, we can find that the flintlock design was very impressive in the ancient age of Europe, even though the gunpowder was not the boasting power of bullets, but the flintlock design was still copied to the 18th century air gun. So the gunflint looks like a decoration. Okay, now this is today's video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.